In this video, we'll see how to use the amazing new upright feature in Lightroom 5. This feature is found in the Develop module here in the right side panel under Lens Corrections. First, I'm going to use this feature to automatically level this photo. Then I'll use it to automatically fix another image which contains converging vertical lines. So let's go ahead and make sure that the basic tab is selected, because you can see now under Lens Corrections we have different choices that we haven't had before. Now we're going to go into the Basic tab, and this is where we're going to find these amazing upright controls. Now you see above upright we also have the ability to enable profile corrections, remove chromatic aberrations, and constrain crop. And I'll get into all these shortly, but let me just get right to the fun part, which is using upright to automatically level this picture. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn on one of the new features that's also found in Lightroom 5, and that's a grid. Hold down the Command or Control on a PC and then Option O, and that will bring my grid, and you can see clearly this is not a level photograph. We didn't even need the grid for that. But now watch what happens under upright when I select level. Boom, it's just automatically leveled. Yeah, I know before in earlier versions of Lightroom we could come up here to the crop overlay tool and we could manually level an image that way. But this is just doing it automatically. Boom, that quick, that simple, and you can see how good of a job it's done. Okay, let me turn that grid off. That would be Command or Control Option O. Let me find another example. Here's a picture where we have converging lines. This is really typical when you photograph looking up at a building, say, and you find that the lines are not straight. And I'll bring the grid back to confirm that. Totally not straight lines. Now watch this over here under Lens Corrections, and I'm going to select vertical this time, and that's going to apply a vertical correction. And now look how straight those pillars are. That's the way it should be. Let me turn that grid off. Okay, so you can see how I've used level and now I've used vertical. Now I need to explain how auto and full work, and I think this image will be good to show that. So this one's pretty complex. Now if I hit vertical, you can see it's really well, it's got the vertical lines all fixed, but the image just really looks distorted. It's not at all natural looking. But watch what happens when I select auto. Auto is it's still going in and trying to straighten and level, do both, but it's doing it much less aggressively. It's trying to make the image look right. It's not trying to make it technically right, make it look right. So oftentimes auto will give you a more natural looking photograph, even though it may not be technically perfect. So auto is definitely something you should consider trying. Now full just puts the full power of the Lightroom upright feature to work, and it could be way too strong for many images, but it may be right also. It really depends on the image itself, and you're going to have to try the different options, and you can see how easy it is just to click between them and try different ones. Now down here you can see that this is obviously it's done so much transformation that we've lost part of the image. If I select Constrain Crop, which I'll do now, Lightroom goes in and crops that area out. And if I go into the Crop Overlay tool, I can adjust that crop if I want to. Let me go back down here. I'm going to turn that off, and I'm also going to turn this off. So we go back, and we can now reset this as well. There. Okay, so that's what's going on when you select auto and full. They may very well be good options as well, but I would start off with level, vertical, and work your way around and see which ones work best. Let me open up another image because I want to show you one more thing. You see here I have Enable Profile Correction selected. I also have my crop tool selected. Let me get out of there. So I have Enable Profile Correction selected. Now what this does is if your lens has a profile associated with it in Lightroom, it will apply that profile correction. And you can see it's not a huge amount of correction. It's certainly not what we're getting with the upright control, but it is correcting for some of the deficiency of the lens. So before you apply your upright controls, you probably should start with this and enable the profile corrections and also remove chromatic aberrations. Then when you apply upright, it will do a more accurate job. Now what happens if you've forgotten or you just didn't want to apply those at first, but now you've decided you do want to enable these two options, and you've already done some work with the upright controls. Let me go ahead and select vertical, and now I'm going to come back up and reanalyze. Now I have the vertical applied with the upright controls, but I'm going to come back later and try to enable profile corrections and remove chromatic aberrations. Well, what Lightroom's upright control is telling me down here, because reanalyze is now an option, it's saying, you know, you've done some extra things to this image, and we really need to take another look at it based on what you've just done. So this is where you now select reanalyze and let Lightroom take into consideration the profile corrections and the chromatic aberration work that it's applied. Okay, one more thing. If you want this crop constraint again, you just click that. And now let's just take a look at some of the different options. I started with vertical. Let me try auto. And I'm just going by visuals here. Let me open up a grid and see if that helps me make a decision. Then I'm going to apply full, auto, full, vertical. Yeah, they're not huge differences. From my eye, that auto setting is probably going to be the way to go. Let me get rid of this grid. There we go. So I'm just, it almost becomes speechless when I talk about this tool. It just really makes a big difference. I'll open up another image here. Here's an image that typically I may just let go as it is, but now with the ability to use the upright controls, watch this, vertical, boom. I think it's a better image. And I think these controls, this feature is such a great addition to Lightroom, and I encourage you to use it.